New York prosecutors just dropped a bombshell on Donald Trump, and this is just the kind of news that we need right now. So in this video, we're going to dive into this bombshell report, but first, I want to show you why this bombshell is actually so important. So let's take a look at this article. Trump's vows for revenge take on new seriousness. President-elect Trump's vows to seek revenge have brought a renewed sense of alarm to those who have crossed ways with him now that he's returning to the White House. Trump routinely calls for adverse actions against his perceived enemies and often makes veiled threats, a dynamic present during his first term in office that accelerated as he battled for re-election. After his inauguration, Trump will have new avenues to make good on those calls. He will also be assembling a team that would be well positioned to carry out any vows for retribution. Trump nominated former Representative Matt Gaetz to serve as Attorney General and several lawyers on his criminal defense team to fill out other top leadership posts at the Department of Justice. And Trump is likely to be bolstered by his allies in Congress. House Republicans who kept their majority have also vowed to investigate Trump adversaries. Their potential targets are nervous. I have heard from a number of organizational clients and some individual clients who are very scared that they may be targeted even though their conduct has been entirely lawful. They fear being targeted for their views, their statements, and for the causes and people that they support. They're very scared, and I think for good reason, said Michael R. Bromwick. They are concerned that they could be audited by the IRS. They could be the subject of a bogus congressional investigation. There may be even a way to conduct or at least initiate a bogus criminal investigation, and all with the goal of, ironically, for the first time actually weaponizing the Department of Justice. Trump has issued a wide variety of threats, from saying that Special Counsel Jack Smith should be arrested for suggesting that those involved with the January 6th committee could be prosecuted. He also said that former Representative Liz Cheney, the panel's vice chair, should go to jail. Trump has called some Democrats the enemies from within, while also targeting Republicans who have criticized him. One person fearful of being targeted said that they and others similarly situated have been commiserating as well as information sharing ahead of potential investigations or other actions. They hoped that if Trump has smart people advising him, they'll stay focused on broader policy goals. I just don't know if he'll be able to help himself, and it just seems like he's kind of consumed by all of it, they said. One former senior Republican aide noted Trump won't be surrounded by many of the same people who pushed back against his inclinations during his first time in office, nor may he be restrained by the courts the same way following the Supreme Court's finding that former presidents retain a broad criminal immunity. Those factors weighed heavily on their mind when it comes to the extent Trump will make good on his plans to follow through on any threats. It's really unknown. Donald Trump is somebody that you need to take seriously and literally. He has proven that. Some of his supporters have claimed that they take him seriously, not literally. There are some on the left who say, well, don't take him seriously, but you have to take him literally. You have to take him both, the former aide said. The fact that there's no guardrails this time, the fact that you have to take him seriously and literally, I think all just raise the specter of alarm if you're someone who's been in his crosshairs in the past. So it's clear that things are not looking good for those of us who even just speak out against Trump. So yeah, now that it's becoming increasingly likely that Trump will be actually going after his political enemies, let's take a look at this new bombshell report from the New York prosecutors going after Trump. New York prosecutors oppose any effort to dismiss President-elect Donald Trump's hush money conviction, but they expressed openness Tuesday to delaying sentencing until after his second term. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office said in a court filing that Trump's forthcoming presidency is not grounds for dropping a case that was already tried. So this is great news, they're not just going to drop the case. But, citing the need to balance competing constitutional interests, prosecutors said consideration must be given to shelving the case until after he's out of office. At the least, prosecutors said that they're okay delaying Trump's sentencing, which has been set for November 26th, while his lawyers fight to get the case tossed out. Judge Juan M. Merchan has not said when he will rule on the fate of the first criminal conviction of a former and now future U.S. Commander-in-Chief. But with the sentencing schedule now effectively on hold, Trump's lawyers are pursuing multiple legal pathways to try to dispose of the case, an effort that could reach the Supreme Court because of the unprecedented questions involved. And then here's some extra information that's sort of a recap on everything that we already know. Because this has been talked about already in great detail, I'm not going to read it here. Now you may be thinking that this actually sounds like bad news because they're basically just delaying this indefinitely. And while yes, it's not great that they're delaying it, it might actually be the only good option. They are 100% opposing any effort to dismiss this case, which is great news. It shows that they are not giving up. But let's say these prosecutors were continuing to go after him after he's president. That just is a recipe for disaster. Because Trump now will have presidential immunity basically from all crimes that he commits in office, who's to say that he can't just go after them for trying to prosecute him? But if they indefinitely postpone it until after he's out of office, then they won't have as good of an argument for going after them because they're not actively trying to prosecute him. And so given that, and the fact that they are opposing any effort to dismiss this case is actually really good news. So yes, it's unfortunate that this sentencing may be delayed, but it's reassuring to see that they have no plans to drop the case despite Trump's team so desperately trying to get them to. And this can give us faith that even though Trump is threatening to go after his political enemies, they are still willing to put up a fight to ensure that justice prevails.